Hi guys, welcome to Kerbal Space Program. It's man, I have had some KSP videos here on my channel, but they were from years and years and years ago. I love playing this game on the side. I've been playing it on the side for quite some time. Anyway, now here we are doing a stream of it. I really don't know if I'm expecting for you guys to enjoy this. I don't know if I'm expecting for too many people to show up at all, but here we are. This button? Yeah. So, I put this into space about a week ago. This is a massive spaceship with 132 Kerbals on board. These are the ones who have been best chosen to avoid the quarantine because they are most likely to continue on the Kerbal race, aka they had the money to buy the tickets to get on this thing. And yeah, I'm just going to leave this in space until the pandemic is over. 132 Kerbals, safe and sound, in space, far, far, far away from their home planet. So, yeah, everything should be perfectly good. So let me go ahead and explain what Kerbal Space Program is for those of you who don't know. Kerbal Space Program is a spaceflight simulator game. It's a sandbox game, or you could choose to do a career mode. Basically, let's see. Actually, I can go ahead and show you guys if I go to the Space Center. This is on PC. It's also on PS4 and Xbox One. It was supposed to get a Wii U port, but they canceled that for some reason. Anyway, let's see. Tracking station. So, this planet is called Kerbin, and the inhabitants are called Kerbals, hence the name. They're little green men. And this solar system has the planet Kerbin. It has a moon and a smaller moon called Minmus. There's also a ton of other planets around. We got the sun. We've got Moho, which is the equivalent of Mercury. Eve, which is Venus. Kerbin, which is Earth. Duna, which is Mars. Dres, which is the equivalent of Ceres, which is the largest dwarf planet between Mars and Jupiter. And we got Jewel, which is Jupiter, and Elu, which represents Pluto. So anyway, this is a spaceflight simulator, which I really, really love. I'm a huge space exploration fan, so being able to assemble spacecraft and send them off to wherever I want in the universe is something that I find quite enjoyable. And today I want to go ahead and send a mission to the moon. And the great thing about this game is you can make a spacecraft however you want. For example, let me go ahead and just let's see. Let's just make a simple spacecraft right here. I gotta put a battery on that. And a SRB. There you go. And let's just go ahead and launch this. So, like, you can make a spacecraft as simple as you want. This one is an uncrewed spacecraft. This is just for demonstration purposes. Why did the donation goal not update? That's weird. There we go. My mistake. Anyway, so, it's nighttime. Let's go ahead and make it daytime. There we go. Oh, that was too far. Try that again. Okay, so now it's daytime. Let's just fire away. Oh, I ran through my entire battery. Well, that was slightly embarrassing. Sorry, everyone. Also, close that unnecessary window. Okay, let's just put a little solar panel on here real quick. Alright, so again, we wait for it to become daytime. There we go. Alright, okay, full battery, so we should be able to just launch. Now, I can't turn that off because that's an SRB. It's like a firework. It's the exact same kind of rocket as a firework, so when you light it, you can't turn it off. But there's different kinds of engines, there's different kinds of things to make the spacecraft, and I'm going to go ahead and show them off some of my favorites today in the hope to land some Kerbals on the moon. And I would like you guys to help me determine what that spacecraft will look like. And thank you, Daniel, for the 99 cents from Canada. Let me go ahead and add that to the goal. It's about 70 cents US. The chat isn't working. It looks like it's working to me. Are you guys having problems with the chat? Anyway, so I would like for you guys to help me. How many Kerbals do you want for me to land on the surface of the moon? Do you want 1, 3, or 5? Do you want 1, 3, or 5 Kerbals to land on the moon today? I got a vote for 3. I've got a vote for 5. I got a vote for 600. Not doing that. Poor game would lag itself crazy. 5, 5, 5. Okay, I think we're going to go with 5 landing on the moon. So, what do we need for 5? Well, if we expect to bring them all home, what we should do is we could put 5 lander cans, but I think it's just better if we do a command pod and a... Is it under payload? That's the cargo bay, so I guess not. Structural? Utility? Yeah, crew cabin, that's what I want, but I want the, this one. There we go. Yeah, and then I can just transfer them between that. Okay. So that looks good. So this is the spacecraft that will eventually be returning home. So we need to make sure that it has a heat shield. So that's correct. Need to make sure that it's aerodynamically stable, which I'm almost positive it is not. And that's okay. Okay, we're going to need to make sure it has a parachute. Probably a few more beyond that even, so let's just go ahead and, well, there, and ×2. Okay. Let's just go ahead and do a test of this to make sure that it comes back down the correct direction. So in order to do that, we just need to add a coupler right there. Let's go ahead and also add some batteries. Don't know if I need to fast forward time again or not. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, let's see. Just a few batteries. There we go. Alright. Now we need a little rocket just to shoot it up high enough so that when it starts coming down, we just see what direction it naturally tries to orientate itself. It doesn't need to be a big rocket, but let's go ahead and make it a big rocket anyway, because you guys are going to love seeing this, aren't you? And that should do it. Alright. Okay, let's see how this goes. So we're going to call this the 5 crew test. How about the 5 crew moon test? And that is how the moon is spelt in Kerbal Space Program. So let's go ahead and try this out. Rocket noises intensify. Also worth pointing out, I have lowered my desktop audio in OBS, but if it's not low enough, then please let me know. Looks like the electric charge is all good. Alright. We wait till the daytime. As you can see, oh, we only have 3 people. We need to fill those up in the editor, but that's okay. We could do that later. Okay, so throttle up. enable SAS, so we go in a nice straight up trajectory way up there. Okay, the test launch in 5, 4, 1. This does not have enough thrust. Good to know. Okay. That does not have enough thrust to get off the pad. That's a very important aspect of it. So let's just go ahead and add a scientist and an engineer. Looks good. Okay, let's add a much more powerful engine. I know just the one. Let's see. Let's just... no, we want to limit the gimbal. This thing's gimbal is always annoying. Okay. Oh, and I guess we'll add some aerodynamics to this so that we can ensure it goes straight up. Let's see. This is a good fin. We'll go with this. All right. So this game costs $40. Again, it's on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, although it works best on PC. But there is a free demo, so if you want the chance of trying it out yourself, then you could download the free demo. You get a lot of stuff to work with, and you get a lot that you could do, so there you go. All right. This is going up and up and up. We're going to get as high as we can. Oh, wow. Actually, this is enough fuel to almost get us into orbit, honestly. We don't want to do that. We want to actually go on a ballistic trajectory. We want to go a little off to the side because we're trying to see how this orientates itself when we're returning from the moon. So when we're hitting the atmosphere at an angle. So we want to go at an angle at a high speed as well. We might even go all the way into space, just not into orbit. So when you're in space in this game, that's when this passes 70,000. But to get into an orbit is when you're permanently in space with no chance of going back down. That's the difference between an orbital and a suborbital spaceflight. It's easy to get into suborbit. It's really hard to get into orbit in real life as well. That's why you got two major space flights in U.S. history. Al Shepard was the first astronaut from U.S. to go into space. John Glenn was the first one to go into orbit, and he didn't do that for a year later. Until a year later. So how's the sound for you guys? Is this a good sound? Okay, this is good. This is what I want to see. I want to get up high and fast. So just we'll do that. Okay, go ahead and call that good now. Go ahead and ditch that. Point ourselves retrograde so that our heat shield is hitting the atmosphere perfectly. Once we get up above 70,000 meters or 70 kilometers, we'll be able to speed time up a little bit. And as you can see, we do indeed have our full capacity of 5 Kerbals. These are just some tourists who paid to have a quick suborbital space flight. Paid a little extra because it's a test flight, of course. So now we are going to go up. Reach the peak of our trajectory. That's called the apoapse. And then we're going to fall back down. We're going to hit the atmosphere really fast and at a pretty good angle, pretty steep angle actually. But that's fine. So pointing ourselves this way, making sure we're aerodynamically stable, making sure we got no heating problems. And if there are any problems, we can just revert the flight with no penalty. That's the great thing about this game. So, yeah. So far, so good. Holding our attitude with 0 issue. The ablator, that's the heat shield, as you can see up in the top corner there. It is going down. I don't know how well that shows up, actually. I'm viewing this in 1080p. Usually I play this in 4K, but I didn't want to strain my computer today by playing the game and streaming it at the same time. We're looking incredibly stable here, actually. So if I were to turn off SAS and just let it orientate itself however it feels like, it looks like it's still going in this direction. Those were just some explosions of the booster down there. Just some of the fuel catching on fire. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, it looks like this is incredibly stable. Coming down pretty quickly. And coming down over a mountainous area. That's less than ideal, but work with what you got. Okay, looks like it's a safe time to pull the parachutes. I'm actually going to adjust. I'm going to adjust them so they pull at like 650 meters so that we don't have to be here for so long. 700, 650, you know. There we go. So let's go ahead and pull those, and then they'll deploy when we're about 600 meters above the surface, which is completely unrealistic, by the way. These things would usually pull miles and miles up, because if something were to happen to one of them, you got plenty of time to try and troubleshoot before you, go kaput. But in this game, the parachutes work first try every time, so no issue. And that is them deploying fully, coming down at like 7 meters per second, 7.5. That's a little fast, but I think we're fine. And just make sure that this creates a nice soft landing. Having a hard time finding my shadow, so we'll just stop the time warp. There used to be a bug in this game for a long time ago, where if you time warped when you hit the ground, there's a good chance your spacecraft could explode. Not in the game anymore, but it's still a habit. Okay, so these 5 tourists have successfully tested the spacecraft and made sure that it can indeed survive re-entry and landing after a trip to the moon. So now we have established that that is a good vehicle, a good vessel, a good spacecraft. Now we just need to build the a bunch of other parts of it, actually. We need to build the part that will land on the moon. We need to build the part that'll send it to the moon. We need to build the part that'll send it up into space in the first place. So that's quite a lot that we need to work on now. So I think, yeah, I could totally make this work as making this a this here. I'm just going to do a direct descent approach. So in the real moon missions, they actually had 2 spacecraft that went to the moon. The lunar module, which went down to the moon and then back up to lunar orbit, and the command module, which stayed in lunar orbit the whole time. And there was always someone who stayed in the command module while the other 2 went down to the lunar surface. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to just have this thing shoot off from the Earth, go to the moon, land, and then come right back to the Earth. That is what we're going to do today. Kerbals have parachutes themselves. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's a fairly recent addition to the game. I forgot about that. Okay. So, to land on the moon, we need a lot of fuel. Not liquid fuel. We want a nice wide base of it so that when we land, we don't tip over. We want a nice wide base so when we land, it steadies itself just fine. So I need a big tank, like one that could fit this, obviously. That looks good. Alright, and this is also going to be what sends us from the lunar surface back home, so we're actually going to want to add just a little bit more fuel there. I don't know how much delta V we'll need, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so we want the nice wide lunar, we want the nice wide base for this thing to stand on. So I don't have robotics. I did not buy the breaking ground expansion. Otherwise, I could totally make a nice robotic thing that squishes in and then pulls out. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to put on 2 decouplers. Okay, and this thing is going to be very wobbly on its way up into space, but that can't be helped. Okay, so now we need more fuel. Let's go with this one. Alright, looks good. Another one below. And then we put the legs here. So, let's see. Actually, first I need to put an engine on that before I forget. Let's see, in a vacuum. I want the that one's not bad. That's not powerful enough. Let's see. That they've changed the looks of all these. I'm so used to the old look, and now they've changed it, so I'm a little... Bear with me, people. I think that would give me enough thrust. Almost positive it will. 250 kilonewtons. Well, I'm afraid. I'd rather over-engineer this just to be sure. You know what? No, if these things are lower than that, I'm just going to add that there. There we go. Okay. So, from here up, that is all that's going to come back from the moon. Now we need to figure out what we need in order to land on the moon. Let's go ahead and make this just a little more aerodynamic when we're leaving the Earth. So we just add these on top. And, let's see, aerodynamics. There we go. And then just add these on top of that. There we go. Looks good. Now we need to... Very afraid this won't be enough to land on the moon, but I can add more fuel later. Let's go ahead and add some engines and then landing legs. So engines. Let's go ahead and go with these. Yeah, why not? Oh, I just thought of something actually. Coupling. Can I couple to that? I can, and I will. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and add the landing legs. So go to ground, and these landing struts. They just barely clear the engine, but that's all we need. And start retracted for both of them. Good. Let's go ahead and strut it up as well so that it doesn't wobble around like crazy. There's an option to auto strut stuff. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. And that's probably good enough. And then, of course, I need to do this. Don't ask me what this is for. It'd take too long to explain. Looks good. Let's go ahead and add a ladder. I usually don't, but let's go ahead and add a ladder. Utility. I think that's good enough. And, let's see. Wait. This one? Okay. The building part is honestly the most boring part, so I apologize for that, but... Oh, geez. Hello. But this is what you need to do. It doesn't quite go to the ground. It definitely does not go to the ground. Oh well. That's just going to have to do, and then they could hop back up. So let's go ahead and retract those ladders. Then we can put them back down when we are in space. All right. So this is what's going to land on the moon. I really feel like I should add more fuel just to be safe. So I will. So luckily there's these incredibly small fuel canisters. That's monoprop. Hold on. Where are they? Is this it? Nope, xenon. Yeah, these things. So I could just line these fuel tanks up with some extra fuel, and that adds to my total. And they're incredibly light, so it doesn't add too much weight either. Let's just go with this. Doesn't need to be perfectly symmetrical. Maybe just a little better there. Okay, we're going to go with this. We're going to hope that this can land on the moon. So let's go ahead and actually rename this to 5 Crew Moon Lander. Alright. So now we need to build the rocket that can send it into space, which is always the hardest part of one of these things, let me tell you. Because it usually wobbles uncontrollably on its way up. Let's see. So I want this one. Yes. Okay. Oh, you know what? It's very important that I add some batteries to this and some solar panels. I almost forgot about those. Okay, so batteries are still in there. Good. Let's go ahead and add a few solar panels. It's very important that they have electricity. They can't have, if they don't have electricity, they can't make maneuvers and they can't get home. So let's just go ahead and add 2 solar panels right there. That looks like a good spot. Let's go ahead and add, let's see, some right there. Actually, no, forget those. I want these. I want these. Where do I want these? Man, this is... let's see. Let's just go ahead and add them right there, and then I can add a few more to the spacecraft itself for when I go home. That should be enough. That really should be enough, I think. Okay. You know what? Just in case, I'm actually going to add some batteries on the bottom of that as well. Let's see. There we go. Just in case. Should be good now. Okay. Now we need to work on the rest of the rocket. I think I can actually strut it up right here and it'll be fairly okay. It'll still wobble like crazy, but that should help a little. Okay. Now the fuel. This one? This one. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And that should be enough. Let's go ahead and raise this just a little bit more off the ground. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and add these engines here. No, I want to add 1 in the middle and then 4 on the outside. Looks good. So we got 5 engines there, just like the Saturn V. Okay, I want to change my staging here. This is very important stuff, guys. Trust me. And I feel like that still won't be quite enough to get off the ground. So let's go ahead and add some solid rocket boosters. Maybe not that many. Looks good. And SRBs are... That's too small. That's way too small. What is this? SRB. Here we go. These look good. Too high up, obviously, so let's just go ahead and move those down to around there. That's beginning to look like a rocket, huh? That's beginning to really look like a good rocket. I'm pretty surprised at how good that looks, actually. Let's go ahead and cap that off so it's aerodynamic. Nope. That'll do. Maybe move them just a little bit lower in that case. Whoops. Alright, and finally... Alright. So now we need to strut everything together and then launch it and see what happens. And this may not work first try, but that's okay. That's how this game works. You try until you make it work. Looking good. Looking very good. Okay, make sure that the crew is all in there and ready. Okay. All right, let's go to the moon. Let's just make sure. Yeah, glad I checked. Check your staging. Okay. Now, want to add that to that. Then send those off there. Then that. Then this. Looks good. Let's go. I'm excited for Kerbal Space Program 2. You betcha I am. I can't wait to play that game. It looks like it's going to be amazing. I might even play it here on YouTube. I mean, I have almost 50 people watching. That's a lot more than I was expecting, frankly. Okay, guys. Let's see how this moon rocket goes. I am very nervous, but very excited. You guys want to do a countdown with me? All right, everyone together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. So we're going to want to try and move over to the right as quickly as possible here. This is called a gravity turn. You can Google it if you want to figure out why. Essentially, it's like cutting off a corner when you're trying to go into space. This is embarrassing. I'm going to run out of liquid fuel before I run out of solid fuel. That's bad. Let's go ahead and throttle down, actually. The solid rocket boosters are going to do just fine, send me further up in space, and this will preserve my fuel for a while. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more I think I don't have enough Delta V to make this mission work. Well, looking at these numbers over here, I don't think I got enough energy. Actually, I can already tell I don't. I'm going to add one more stack of fuel in the middle. The rocket isn't as efficient as it could have been. You know what? You're right. It's not. But that's okay. Okay, I want to add one more. Let's go ahead and add one more right there. Add that to the bottom. This has become a very, very tall rocket. I can move these up though, so it makes it a little less tall. All right. No, I don't have the DLC. My parachutes burn. No, they were when they were red, that meant that was a very not safe time to open them. That doesn't mean that they burned up. So all's well. And just strut it up to there. Okay. All right, let's try that again. This is a pretty tall rocket. Okay, it's still. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna let the SRBs do as much of the job as possible getting up. And then once they're used up, then I will throttle all the way back up with my center stage there. Yeah, this is looking more like it. So my general rule of thumb is when I hit about 10,000 meters, I want to be at about the 90-degree mark. Right there. All right. And I want to be at about 500 meters per second at that point as well. So far, we're pretty much right on track where I want to be. This is looking very good. And now I throttle up to full. Yeah, this is looking really good. Problem is, the minute I ditch those SRBs, this thing is going to become very unstable, I can already tell. Try and flatten this trajectory. When I get to about 70,000 meters, I don't want to go any higher. Maybe 100,000. People aim for 100,000. It can really be anywhere above 70,000. It's perfectly fine. Okay, I can tell the SRB's just ditched. Okay, that was the SRB exploding. The main stage is still fine. All 5 engines are okay. All right, this won't even be enough to get me into orbit. I don't know if I have enough fuel for this. Well, I have. It's giving me what? How much? It's giving me like almost 7,000 for the big for this. I'm just going to go with that. I'm just going to continue on with this. See how it goes. Go prograde. I could do Apollo-style moon missions, Doctor. I just, not this time. Okay, once I'm clear enough of the atmosphere, I'm going to go ahead and open up these solar panels, which looks like now's a pretty good time. Then I'll go ahead and open up the two... Oh, I accidentally added these on both sides. Whoops. Do not need these ladders at all on this side where the crew quarters are not a thing. Let's just go ahead and open up these on this side too. I don't think they'll clip, and they will not. Okay, good. So now electricity is not going to be an issue. Alright, let's just go ahead and begin circularizing. This is good because this big stage is going to drop right back down to the Earth, or to Kerbal, I mean, and not take up space at all, not clog up space. These engines are incredibly efficient. Unfortunately, that means that their thrust is also very, very low, so I'm going to have to be very careful when I attempt my landing on the moon. I'm sure I'll be okay, though. Sure, I'll be perfectly okay. Doesn't move very well either. Doesn't move very fast at all. Should have added some thrusters or something. I don't know. Yeah, this is moving not very fast. Trying to get my periaps above 70. There we go. That's nowhere near a circular orbit, but it's just going to have to do. Okay, set. Well, I don't want to set that as a target. I want to set the moon as the target. There we go. All right. Now we want it to be about the 90 degrees away from us, which actually that means pretty much having to start our burn right now. Let's just see how long this will take. This will take quite some time, actually. Wow. Alright. Let's just go with this. Okay. So it says burn time will be 1 minute and 50 seconds. That means we're going to want to start our burn at about the 55-second mark. We want to take our time and cut it in half. So, yeah. But these engines are incredibly efficient. So hopefully we should still be perfectly fine. I'll go ahead and create a quick save right here. If we can't land on the moon, then we can at least swing around the moon and come home like they did in Apollo 13. But we are going to send these 5 tourists to the moon today. Yeah, I could time warp if I want. Yeah, but I was so close to the maneuver mode anyway, I decided not to. I decided there wasn't really much of a point. Alright. Let's just go ahead and turn our spacecraft a little bit here. So we get to see it. Doesn't that look awesome? I am very worried that this will not have the thrust to land on the moon. I feel like it'll have the thrust to take back off, especially because I'm going to ditch these 2 heavy stages on the side. But landing, I actually am worried that this will not have the thrust to mass ratio to make it happen. But I guess we'll find out. No, these yellow tanks are not monoprop. They are regular fuel, liquid fuel, oxidizer. You can see them draining just as well as everything else. And here you can see nothing draining. That's because as this is firing, the fuel from these tanks is draining into that, so it's constantly being topped off. Got about 30 seconds left. So now, as you can see, this thing here I have here is just a geostationary space station. So it's at the same kind of orbit where GPS systems are. Yeah. So let's see. Just slow down that a little bit. We want to get our moon periaps really low as we can, honestly. Yeah, that got so wonky. Hold on. 90,000. We can go down to 50,000. 50,000. 50,000 is where we're at. Okay. So now we're gonna want to just warp here. Why not? Bye-bye, Kerbin. Hello, moon. Alright, so we're here. I'm going to want to try and get there. I want to get into the moon's sphere of influence before I try and plot out a retrograde burn. Here we go. Add maneuver to get into orbit around the moon. And we can see that that'll take about 30 seconds. So let's just go ahead and time warp down to the 15-second mark. Make sure we're pointed in the correct direction. You know, it looks like we're going the opposite direction that Apollo goes. Usually, the Apollo astronauts would go around that side of the moon over there and then come out on this side. We're going in the opposite way. That's just how this turned out. They went that way because that allowed for a free return trajectory. So if something were to happen and their engine didn't light, they would still fly around the moon and go straight back to Earth with no issue. All right. Are you guys enjoying the stream so far? Let's just go ahead and lower the landing legs. That barely clears that. Okay, well, we'll make this work. We will make this work. Alright, start a quick save. In case we cannot land on the moon with this, at least we can send them back to Kerbin. I think that we should be able to land on the moon just fine, though. I think that we have the thrust for that. Michael Collins was the guy on the command module. Yep. Mike Collins, Dick Gordon, Jack Swigert, although that was Apollo 13. None of them landed. Stu Ruza? Yeah, Stu Ruza. Al Warden, Ken Mattingly, and Ron Evans. Those were the command module pilots during the moon missions. So all of them went to the moon but never got to land. I completely missed my node, but that's okay. Don't need to be totally... when you're just trying to land on the moon, you don't need to be totally accurate with it. Oh yeah, I totally have the thrust for this. Okay. So I'm going to want to try and land somewhere where you can still see Kerbin. It's going to be important because landing on the far side, you can't see Kerbin, so you can't talk with Kerbin. Okay. Yeah, I got the thrust, and I'm pretty sure I got the fuel. I think this is going to work. So I'm going to want to land... Luckily, the bright side is facing Kerbin right now. So even though, you know, Kerbin is mostly dark, that's good because at least we can see where we're landing. Let's see. I'm going to want to try and land... where's a good spot? Kind of high up. I'm going to want to try and land right around here. So let's go ahead and add maneuver. Slow us down. Up, too far. All right. Let's go with that. So yeah. We're going to be totally fine here. Okay. Let's go ahead and work to our next maneuver. We're going to start our burn on the far side of the moon, which is also how it worked in Apollo. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Artemis. Assuming, of course, that Congress doesn't shut it down because they're politicians, not engineers. But supposedly, Artemis landing, the next time we land on the moon is going to be in 2024. I realize that's incredibly unlikely, but at least we have a goal. What's the difference between a patron and a channel membership? Channel member, you get access to emotes, members only chat, cool perk, you get a nice green name and all sorts of awesome stuff, and access to my Discord server. Patron, you could do it for less money each month, but mostly all you get is just the Discord access and sneak peeks at whatever new videos I'm coming out with. So there's really not, like, honestly, at this point I would say you're better off being a channel member. Hi, Nightingale. Okay, so here we go. Beginning our landing burn. Now. That's it. We're on a suborbital trajectory. You can see our line cuts right there. Okay. We're going to want to continuously point ourselves retrograde here. The moon is very unforgiving. It is very mountainous, hilly. It's just, yeah, we're going to have some issues, I think. So, if I have to quick load, I apologize. That's just... the Apollo astronauts obviously couldn't do that. They had to land it correctly every time, and they did it. But they were all test pilots. They were people who knew what they were doing. I'm a YouTuber who has a big fascination with space exploration, but no flying experience whatsoever except coach on American Airlines. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Phlox, for everyone who's here. Thank you for joining the stream. Make sure to hit the like button. There's still almost 40 people watching. I did not expect that. Okay, so when I get to about... Man, I'm coming in kind of hot. When I get to about 10,000, I'm going to start braking a little bit. In real life, the astronauts would like brake at the perfect moment, so then when their thrust hit 0, they were on the lunar surface. Luckily, these engines can be lit and relit and thrusted as much as I want. In real life, rocket engines don't work like that. They're usually only supposed to light a certain number of times, usually less than 5. Actually, in Apollo, literally 1. And they could only thrust like from 100% down to 60 at best. These can thrust anywhere from that's 1% thrust right there to 100, and I can activate them as many times as I want. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, that right there already violates what real rocket engines are capable of. This game is incredibly forgiving, and it's not meant to be completely realistic, but it is meant to show you how rockets work and show you what real rocket science is like. And it's an amazing game that does that. All right, man, this would have been a really good place to land. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can't just cut my thrust here before I hit those mountains. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Okay, then I'm gonna try and float over those mountains. Yeah, I'm gonna try and land. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to float right past these craters. Go ahead and quick save. If I need to abandon this and get back into orbit, I am perfectly capable of it. I can just ditch these side boosters and thrust straight up. But I think that we are going to land on the moon today. Going to try and aim for that spot there. Or can I aim for that maybe? I'm going to aim for that. It's high up. It looks a little more flat. Go ahead and retract these. Not that it really matters, it's just, it looks better like this. That's not good. Go ahead and flatten this out. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're going to... Yeah, we're going to land just fine, guys. We're going to land right down there, right underneath us. Let's go ahead and shut this down, actually. Yeah. Okay, you can see our shadow right there. We're about to land. Those legs do not clear the engines, do they? That's okay. That's okay. Once we land, we don't need those engines anymore. So if one of them or both of them blow up, it's fine. All right, coming in. Picking up some dust. That's just too powerful. Oh boy, oh boy. Hold. Hold it. All right, there we are. We're landed on the moon. Look at that. Oh, with a beautiful view of Kerbal off on the horizon. Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, I tell you. Let's go ahead. Quick save. Look at that. That's one of the smoothest landings I've ever had in this game, too. Wow. Okay, electric charge is going down, so let's go ahead and extend our solar panels again. We could totally have made this into a moon base if we wanted. Let's see. I think that's the closest thing to me. 30 kilometers away. What was that? Just some debris. Okay. All right. Look at this. This is pretty. This is a pretty landing spot. All right. Let's go ahead and extend our ladders. Get the crew out of there. Take a nice group picture of the tourists on the moon. Plant a flag. This is the wrong side. Do that again. Do that again. All right. I could totally hop this up, rotate it, put it back down, but there's no point. They've got a nice... No, they don't. There's no window facing that way, actually, so... Oh, well. Oh, well, they're going to come out and look at Kerbal anyway. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on an EVA. So that means extravehicular activity. That's the official nomenclature for spacewalks or moonwalks. As LML Kerman goes down and just falls the rest of the way. It's okay. No harm done. Look at that. That's a screenshot if ever I've seen one. Let's go ahead and just take a screenshot then, actually. And, of course, we need to plant a flag. All right, so we're going to call this live stream landing site. On April 2, 2020, Skull landed on the moon to a live audience of 40 on YouTube. And I just tweeted out the the screenshot that I just took, so be sure to check that out. All right. So we got our nice NASA flag, which is pointed directly into the line of sight of the sun, so there's no way it's properly illuminated. So many oofs today. That's okay. All right. Time to get more people out. Okay. Uh-oh. Gotta watch that first step. That's good enough. All right. All right, and now we just need to get the rest of them out. Livestream landing site. Yep, that's what this will forever be called. Maybe I'll return to it someday. Maybe even to a live audience. Looking good. Okay. Send these guys on an EVA as well. Leaving the lander totally vulnerable to other Kerbals coming down and thievering stuff. I don't know what you would thiever from a spacecraft. I don't know what's on there that would be considered valuable, but you never know. It is vulnerable. Whee! All right, get in line. Looks pretty good. And finally, Helene Kerman. Yes, Doctor, it is. It 100% is. I wish I could go to space too, Nightingale. Maybe someday normal, everyday people will be able to. That is definitely my number one dream, is to be able to go into space someday. Like, of all dreams I've ever had, going into space is my number one. Alright. Another beautiful screenshot. Alright. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. Let's just take the time to admire this. Look at this site. We're here, and we're all looking up at our home planet just over there on the horizon. Ah, that is gorgeous. I could not have planned this better. Ah, it looks beautiful. But alas, there is no science to be had. This is a sandbox mode. So, all we can do is just go home. So let's go ahead and get back in our capsule and begin the return trip, just like the astronauts from 50 years ago. In fact, Apollo 13's 50th anniversary is coming up here in just 2 weeks, less than. You can betcha I'll be watching that. I'll be watching that film. I've got jetpacks. We landed 5 Kerbals on the moon. First try, didn't have to reload once, except to add more fuel. And it looks like they're all safe and sound. 0 issues. Whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. Hold on. I want to do this. There we go. What else am I planning on doing today? I don't know. If you guys are interested, I could definitely keep doing Kerbal Space Program stuff. I could show you my space station and send some some replacement astronauts to it if you want. The one that's in geostationary orbit, so that's actually a kind of hard one to get to. Also, in real life, obviously, the Apollo astronauts did not have jetpacks. Definitely did not have jetpacks. But I think in KSP, every single Kerbal has jetpacks, whether you assign it or not, like how they all have parachutes now. I could totally have just jumped up onto the ladder and walked up, but this is a lot faster and easier. Oh, right. Okay. That's fine. Let's see. Need to transfer crew. Okay. Let's go ahead and board, and just one more Kerbal. There we go. Kenzen Kerman. Looking good. Let's go ahead and board. Quick save. So we're all set. And let's go ahead and reactivate this engine. Retract all the ladders. Even the ones on the correct side. Alright. All that's left is for us to get into orbit around the moon and then return back to Kerbin, which is a lot easier than getting here, let me tell you. Alright, let's just go ahead and quick save so nothing bad happens, and launch sequence. 1. I did not mean to get rid of those so quickly. That's okay. This thing could totally make it back on its own. Extend solar panel on all sides. I did quick save, so if that went bad, I really, if that really went bad, I could have quick loaded. But it looks like all is well. Fun fact: so when Boeing starts sending people into space on their Starliner, the spacecraft is going to look really close to this, with the 2 engines there at the bottom and the sort of top-heavy design and the 4 solar panels. This is the actual Starliner design, or pretty close to it, and that was not something that I intended. Just worked out that way. Okay. So we want to flatten our trajectory. Actually, we want to go more or less this way. There we go. Okay, so when I hit here, I'm going to want to... Yeah, all good. So anyway, so NASA showed today the booster that'll be sending SpaceX astronauts into space next month in May, which will be the first time America has sent astronauts into space from our own soil since the end of the space shuttle. So you could betcha I'm really excited for that. I'm going to try my best to actually go to Florida and watch it in person. I applied for press credentials, but even if I don't get them, which I'm honestly not expecting to, I'll still happily make the drive and just watch it from Cocoa Beach. It's really important to me. Space exploration is my #1 passion above anything else that I do. So it's important to me to be able to potentially watch that. Now all that's left is for us to return to Kerbin. So let's go ahead and... I'm always really bad at trying to figure out where I need to place this... That is not going down, actually. Hold on. Let's see. That's not going down. Here we go. 1.5. 1.5 still hollow. Okay, it is going down good. You know what? I'm just going to break lunar orbit and then deorbit down to Earth. This is going to take too long. So let's see. Right here, I guess. Just break lunar orbit and then deorbit down to Kerbal. There we go. All right. Make a modular moon base. I wish I could. I wish I knew how to do that. Yeah, Doctor, I'm going to do that this time. Usually I have a pretty good equatorial orbit around the moon, but not this time. So this time I need to figure out something else. Now, in real life, you're going to have every PhD on the planet in orbital mechanics and mathematics and engineering. You're going to have everyone figuring out the precise trajectory that you can burn the engine to within like a quarter of a second to make it precise. In this game, I don't have that. I don't have access to all of those smart people. I just have myself. All right. Yeah, turns out I engineered this pretty much perfectly. We've got plenty of fuel to spare. The thrust to weight ratio was pretty much perfect. This turned out to be a really good mission. All right, so we're just going to want to leave the moon sphere of influence here. Let's just go to about there. Bye, moon. Ready to go home now. I've seen people who have made modular moon bases, and I envy how smart they are, because I am not that smart. Not as smart as they are. Okay, so now I could probably just deorbit right here and be fine. And the good news is I think that'll let me deorbit on the light side as well, so we'll be able to see it. Not exactly, but more or less. All right. So we want to get this down to about, I found that like 35,000 is pretty much perfect. Too low and you'll smash into the surface or burn up, and too high and you'll just skip right back out and go back into space, which isn't a bad thing in this game, but it is in real life because you don't have the food and resources to survive that long. Okay, looks good. Let's just go ahead and warp low. Then when we get down close to Kerbal, then we will ditch the booster and land. Ah, that's a beautiful view. Look at that. Oh, yeah, that's gorgeous. All right. Want to make sure we're pointed retrograde, so pointing flat side down to Earth, backwards. Looking good. I could totally use... I have so much fuel, I really could use it to bleed off some of our speed, but I want this to come in hot and fiery. It's going to be pretty. Alright, so looks good. Let's just go ahead and quick save in case this doesn't go well. Ditch that and enjoy the ride. It could have been more aesthetically better. Yeah, well... the real-life lunar module on Apollo wasn't that aesthetically pleasing either, was it? It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be practical, not nice to look at. All right, and we just hit the atmosphere. 70,000 meters. Okay, I think that, yeah, our trajectory is good. Even if that thing flies back at us, which it won't because it's so heavy and so aerodynamic, then it won't hit us. Although we can totally target it and see how far away it gets from us. We could totally track it as it goes down. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, good news. Good news, this thing is indeed pretty stable. My bad. This thing is incredibly stable. No overheating issues. We're going to probably hear some explosions soon from that. These 5 tourists are all very happy. Nothing going wrong. 3,000 meters per second. This is more than orbital velocity. Orbital velocity is like 2,200, so yeah. Then we can see on the map our orbit is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we can see that's the booster's orbit there too. Our orbit is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. At some point, it will become suborbital, and there will be no way to shoot back into space at all. This is looking pretty much by the book, honestly. This whole mission from beginning to end has been pretty good. I usually don't have missions that go this well, and yet here we are. I think that booster might not be suborbital by the time this is over, but we'll see. If it's not, then it'll hit the atmosphere again and burn up later. Okay, that camera flip means that we are indeed suborbital now. As you can see, our circle is no longer a circle. It disappears into the planet. The booster just went out of render distance, so that's going to be its permanent orbit. That's fine. I can swap back to it later and just let it burn up later. This is looking really good. Really good, actually. Wow. This is so good. I should land 5 people on the moon more often. There's still 40 of you watching. If you guys want for me to send a resupply mission to my geostationary station, then please let me know, because I'll happily do that after this crew lands. Yeah, our ablator's going down. We're now going slow enough that the heat shield is not as necessary. I mean, obviously it's still fiery, but it's not actually doing damage to the heat shield anymore. It's down to like only 0.8765 per second. We could totally ditch this heat shield now if we wanted. Okay, again, I'm going to try and make these open up at like 650, just so then we don't have to take as much time falling down to the ground. So that looks good. And maybe just a little higher for that one. There we go. All right. Oh man, we're coming down on a mountainous range. No, I think we're going to land right about there. Somebody go there and paint a target for me. I can't do SSTOs or space planes. I'm so bad at making those, Doctor. I keep trying. I keep failing. I can't make anything aerodynamic in this game. This is like picture perfect, the whole thing. Let's go ahead and make sure when we land, we're facing the sun like that. All right. Wait till we're about at the 5,000 meter mark, I guess. Actually, this is kind of hilly terrain. I'm going to wait till I'm like at 7,000. Just ditch that heat shield. It's still being pressed up against us due to the air, but when the parachutes open up, it'll fall down to the ground. There's our shadow. Looks like we came down in the daylight after all. And there goes our heat shield. That will not be us. Since we're... Ah, man, we're doing pretty good for ourselves, actually. We're landing at even a slower speed than during our test with the other 5 Kerbals. Let's just speed it up. Okay, and I will get one of them out to plant the flag, so that we can mark where we landed after our landing on the moon during the live stream. Perfect! Look at that! Didn't that just work out perfect? Look at this! Yeah, this is awesome. Let's go ahead and plant a flag right about here. I'm going to name this one April to 2020. Here we landed 5 Kerbals after safely landing and returning from the moon during a live stream to 40 viewers. Alright. Let's hop back in. Bring everyone back home. And that concludes our mission. Landed on the moon, safely returned. No quick saves, no quick loads required. That went out really well. You want to be an astrologist? I don't think that means what you think it means. Alright. Well, that was great. Let's go ahead and take care of my geostationary spacecraft now. I'm just going to actually load up one of the spacecraft I've already used to get up there, just so we don't have to sit through me building a new one. Let's see. Geostationary crew transfer. That's what I want. This looks good. Actually, my station is a little too full, so I'm actually going to reduce this down by 1. Okay. Make sure I got all the thrusters, parachutes, docking. Yep. Okay, all good. Let's go ahead and send it up. No science points, though. Yeah, this is a sandbox. I have a science mode, but I've maxed it out, so there's no point. Where can you buy or download this? It's available on Steam, and there is a free demo version of this game available as well. So if you're on the fence about it, or if you want to make sure that is a game that you would like first, then totally download the demo. This is a much shorter and narrower rocket, isn't it? This looks more like a real rocket. But yeah, it's available on Steam, but you could also buy it from the KerbalSpaceProgram.com store, which is where I got it in the first place. It's also available on PS4 and Xbox One. So this is a nighttime launch. I just didn't feel like speeding it up. Since we're going into geostationary orbit, it's actually better to try and do a bit of a steep trajectory instead of a shallow trajectory, because we're trying to go into an orbit far above the surface of Kerbal. So we're trying to get to that one? Yeah, this one. We're going to go to there. Yeah, hold that attitude. Looking good. Alright. What's my opinion on space elevators? Until they start working, I'm going to remain skeptical about them. I think I heard somewhere that in order to make a space elevator that goes just to geostationary orbit, or not just to geostationary orbit, yeah, because then it just needs to go straight up. You don't need to worry about a drag or anything. I think I heard somewhere that in order to make one that goes just there, then if you were to make it out of the same material that the Eiffel Tower is made out of, then it would actually weigh more than the Earth itself. So, yeah, like I said, I'll start accepting it when it becomes a thing that that is not science fiction. Okay. Amazingly, even though we're all the way up past geostationary orbit now, we're still in a suborbital trajectory. So let's just go ahead and widen it, so that when these pink nodes here line up, then that's where I want for this to go. That looks good. Oh, that's not really close. I could probably lower it. Actually, need to move it up. There, that's close enough. 36. For an initial burn, I'm going to take that. So it'll take about 41 seconds. So we start burning at the 20-second mark. There's the sun. Do-do-do-do. Okay, let's go ahead and point the correct direction. Got all turned around here. I'm completely turned around. Hang on. Nope, this way. Okay. At the 20-second mark, I said. Where are the original 4 Kerbals in this file? I accidentally killed Jeb. Bill is on my one of my space stations, I think around the moon. I actually don't know where Valentina and Bob are. They're apparently alive, but I can't find them, no matter where I look. So they're all over the place, unfortunately. I could always cheat them back in if I want, but that's just where they are right now. All right. Doesn't this look more like a spacecraft, like one that you would imagine a spacecraft looking like? What did the 2 pilots on the bottom screen do? They're mostly just along for the ride because I, the almighty computer on board, is handling this. The 2 pilots, one of them's a pilot, one of them's a scientist. They're mostly just along for the ride, like I said. All right, separation of 18 kilometers. Wow, I did good. So now we get to float around Kerbin. You can see we're actually facing pretty close to the exact same side of it the whole time. That's what geostationary orbit is, where you're orbiting the Earth or a planet or anything, honestly, at the exact same speed that it rotates. That's how GPS satellites work, for example, is by that principle. So actually I'm going to get to here, cancel my momentum, and then shoot a little closer. Alright, now let's just aim straight for it. Let's try and get this down. Yeah, we'll go with that. This is how rendezvous works. This is actually not that far off from how it works in real life. Buzz Aldrin, the Apollo 11 lunar module pilot, the second man ever to walk on the moon, he's a doctor because he wrote an essay on orbital mechanics. And it was so close to actuality, NASA continues using his essay to this day to plot out how spacecraft rendezvous with, like, the space station, or how space probes or rendezvous with other planets and stuff like that. So that's about as close as we're going to get. Man, this is kind of annoying, actually. Hold on. Let's just keep going down, see. Okay, cancel that, cancel that, cancel that, cancel that. We're going to fly right past it, guys. Flew right past it. Oh wow, we're going to still fly past that hole. This is going really not well. Okay, we're going a little slower now. All good. We're just going to call this a fly past. Yeah, flyby, so they can inspect the craft, make sure nothing broke. Okay, so this is what my geostationary space station looks like. We got a cupola module right there, so they got a nice place to look at. And we've got not much else. We got a little grappler here that can help deorbit and then deorbit junk. We've got this little spacecraft, and we got all sorts of science modules that are invisible. Don't worry about it. And tons of fuel. In case the spacecraft that I designed get up here don't have enough fuel to deorbit themselves and get back home, we got tons of fuel, tons of monopropellant. This could also be used as a base to go to other planets as well. But today it is just what I'm going to be using to. I'm gonna go ahead and bring one of these guys home. They've been here for, let's just say, a year, and now it's time to bring them home. We're not going to replenish. We're not going to do anything like that. We're just going to bring them home. So now we just use our little thrusters to make this happen. Where's a good place to dock? Honestly, that's a good place. Right where I'm aiming right now. How about this one? That's better. Try and orientate myself here. There we go. Okay, coming in. Hello, Haruka-chan. Haruka is the Japanese name for Mei from Pokemon, from, Pokemon Advance, so. And that's my favorite Pokegirl. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's just go with this. And now you have to go in really slowly. In fact, this is maybe a little too fast. But yeah, you guys wanted to see my geostationary space station. Here it is, and I'm about to dock to it. Actually, I should probably go a little further down. All right. Coming in good. Could probably go this way a little. Coming in good. Nice and slow. Slow it down even more. Looks really good. And just turn everything off, and the magnetic pull should make it work. There we go. Successfully docked to the station. Let's go ahead and get the guy out of Cupola. He's just been sightseeing for the past 3 months. Transfer him into here, which only leaves the people on. Right, really, that's it? Just the people in here? Just the one person. We're going to leave one person on this station for the next few months. He's going to be doing a lot of important science, looking down on Kerbal. So there we go. Nothing really left for us to do now. And yeah, nothing really left for us to do. I mean, here, let's go ahead and actually show off. This is geostationary orbit because we're facing the exact same side of Kerbal no matter what time of day it is. So we're always directly over this exact spot. No matter what. That's what a geostationary orbit is. And that's partly why I like having this. Yeah, this thing has been in orbit for 35 years. This station has been in orbit around Kerbal longer than the International Space Station around the real Earth. That's funny. But yeah, I'm probably gonna throw up some more like actual science modules and put it up here. I'll eventually do that. Probably. So, yeah. But for now, I'm just happy having a cupola module and just this thing, and this little tug here, which can basically deorbit anything that's determined to be space debris anywhere close. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's just go home. So let's go ahead and back up. Back up. We don't want to hit the station with anything. Let's go ahead and close the shield. And deorbit. Again, we want to make sure we're down to about 35,000 meters. Looks like we're going to deorbit on the night side. Nothing we can do about that. I'd love to make it day side just so then it's nicer to look at, but we'll just make this we'll make this work. Good enough. Now it's time to bring Sally Kerman home. And I'm going to speed through this a little faster this time. So let's go ahead and just undock. Add a hitchhiker module. You know what? I could probably do that. Yeah. Totally could do that. Hard to believe I've been going for an hour and a half now. Yeah, this is going to be really dark on YouTube. I apologize, guys. There's nothing I can do about that. It's dark for me, honestly. I can barely see. I think I'm over land, but it's hard to tell. I'm just gonna pull my parachutes now. I'm too afraid. It's really hard to see. Okay, we are over land. Okay, good. Coming in a little hot. I'm going to go ahead and jettison the heat shield, drop a little bit of weight. Still coming in a little hot. This is fine. Perfectly acceptable. All right. And there we go. We just returned somebody from my space station. Whew, all right. All right, let's see. I wanna quickly deorbit that one. That one. Yeah, this booster that flew back off into space. So I'm just going to fly it, and just let it burn up in the atmosphere for everyone to watch because I know people love fireworks. And then we'll see. So yeah, this is the booster. It's completely. I cannot control it. There's no communication with the ground. There's no communication device on it whatsoever. So we're just going to wait for this to fall back to Earth and burn up. It probably won't burn up. It'll probably just go smash into the surface of the planet. But that's okay. It's always fun to watch the fireworks. This booster served us well. It really did. Man, the whole mission to the moon was just flawless. Yeah, it's overheating, but it's not going to actually blow up, I think. Are we going to make it to the ocean? Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I think we're going to hit the land just before the ocean, though. Oh, actually, we're going pretty flat still. I think we're going to make it to the ocean. Are we going to actually hit the land beyond the ocean? Wow, this thing is just going like a bullet. No, I think we're going to crash in the ocean. Yep, we're going down in the ocean. Nothing blew up. It is to shame. The interesting thing is, since it's going down in the ocean, we might be able to recover some of these parts. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Nothing is recoverable. Alright. Alright, and that's what happened to the booster that brought us back from the moon. What is it I want? Oh yeah, I shipped a ton of Starlink stuff into orbit on my own. That was funny. Let's go ahead and fly the Ark from the pandemic and take a look at how they're doing. Flox, you didn't really miss much. All right. Looks like my Ark is perfectly fine. All right. So these guys will remain in Kerbal orbit until the pandemic ends. Until then, I think that's where I'm going to end this stream off. So thanks everyone so much for watching. A lot more people showed up than I expected, although we're pretty much wrapping it up. There's no one who's really interested anymore. That's perfectly fine. I had fun. Glad you guys came and joined me. Tomorrow, I will be continuing my shiny hunt in Pokemon Crystal for Celebi in a race against That Bald Gamer. So be on the lookout for that. I'm glad you guys showed up. Maybe I'll do this again someday. In the meantime, have a good day, have a good week, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.